fashion design, art, photography, stage design, real estate, civil engineering, movie sets, film, animation. You could do all of this with an architecture degree. You can express yourself in a way that nobody else can. Architecture is a labor of love, and recently I got a requested video to explain and kind of give my personal take on pros and cons in architecture. Woo! So architecture seriously is a labor of love, and I have 5 pros and 5 cons for majoring in architecture, studying architecture, loving architecture, because like any great love, there's a lot of problems with architecture, but you love her so much, you just can't let her go, right? So anyway, oh god, that was so weird to say. Anyway, I'm gonna start off with a con, that way we can end on a pro. But yeah, so here is a short list of 5 pros and 5 cons that I personally see in the field of architecture. I hope this video helps out anyone who's debating on changing majors or majoring in architecture. Perhaps you're in high school or in college. Yeah, and let's just get right into it. Hey guys, it's your girl Nat here, and I am back with a new video. Today, like I mentioned in the intro, we're talking 5 and 5 pros and cons, all that good stuff. I have a Discord, Teespring, Patreon, a website. I just launched a website, hey! So go check it out. I blog about architecture, and I also share my personal portfolio on that site. Without further ado, let's just get right into the list. Like I said, starting with a con, ending with a pro. I am hyper today. Okay, con number 1. There is so much freaking training that you have to do to become a licensed architect. Now, I explain it in this video how to actually become a licensed architect in the United States. Educationally speaking, you have 4 years of undergrad, 2 to 3 years of graduate school, only to be followed by like 2 years of internship years. I mean, granted, you can do your internship years while you're majoring in architecture in school, which is cool. Go do that. Yeah, it's just, there's a lot. It's a lot. In a way, it's like you're becoming a doctor of buildings. And I understand why there's so much required. I mean, obviously, we all grew up in buildings, and the last thing you want is for a building to fall down. So, like, cool, I get it, but at the same time, it's so much, and it's also really expensive. Now, I'm on scholarship at my graduate university at UPenn. That's the only reason I'm there is because of a scholarship. So, if that is a concern for you, they offer a lot of scholarship opportunities for individuals and students, especially if you present a really good portfolio, a good recommendation letter, good grades in high school, whatever, you'll be okay, you'll be good. I also had scholarships at Ohio State, so I can say with certainty, like, if you do need that financial help, typically a lot of people will provide architecture related scholarships to architecture students, which is also pretty cool. So the first pro is, just because you are studying architecture does not mean that you are actually confined just to architecture. Let me explain. With an architecture degree, you could do anything. You could do anything creative, really. I've mentioned in the past I majored in design foundations at Ohio State, and I then switched my major to architecture. This was hands down the best thing I personally ever did, and it was because I got in a conversation with an architect, literally lasted 5 minutes. I doubt he even knows that he changed my life. He was saying everything that I wanted to do with a design degree, I can easily do that same thing with an architecture degree. Fashion design, art, photography, stage design, real estate, civil engineering, movie sets, film, animation. You could do all of this with an architecture degree. Some of them are going to require more specific classes or whatnot. Saying that you have an architecture degree, you can probably still get that job professionally. You aren't confined just to becoming a licensed architect. Now, if you, let's say, studied photography and you applied to be an architect or work at an architecture firm, I don't know how that's going to go for you, so the converse isn't always true. However, if you majored in architecture, just want to focus on design, set design and stuff, you can do that. They have hired architects in the past to work on sets. I know they hired architects for the 2009 James Cameron Avatar movie. Like, architects worked on that set. So if that's something that you can see yourself pursuing in the future, perhaps majoring in architecture isn't really a bad move. Con number 2 is that sometimes school does not prepare you for the working professional world. I can only really speak to the professional world of architecture. Now, before I had my first internship, everywhere I applied to was like, you need to know Revit. Guess what program we use in school? It is called Rhino. Rhino. That's it. That is all we did, was use Rhino and Maya and Illustrator and all that stuff. For a whole year at my internship, we did not use Illustrator once, nor Rhino. I used Photoshop a little bit here and there. Revit is such a beautiful program, which is used, I want to say, by 95% of all professionals actually producing buildings and stuff like that, just because of it's very easy to use in an office setting, where Rhino isn't that forgiving. So that's why I recommend, if your school is anything like mine was, it's probably not going to teach you Revit, and that is an obligation that you are going to have to personally learn as you're applying to internships or professional jobs and stuff like that. Majoring in architecture is really fun. Like, you get really great creative prompts and stuff like that. Now, when I was working in my internship, I wasn't doing a lot of fun stuff, I would say. I was doing like bathroom details, making sure it was ADA compliant. Yeah, I just didn't have the opportunity to design like a cool office tower or anything like that. It wasn't like that. And I understand I am the low man on the totem pole, so that's cool if I have to work my way up to these like super creative projects. But for the first couple years majoring and practicing in architecture, you aren't going to be given the privilege of designing super cool buildings that you study in architecture history classes. 2 pro, architecture is a passion-filled field. I am allowed to be creative, and I found a passion within architecture. Understand that you will be leaving a long impact on societies, as buildings are built to last. So even though you and I may leave this earth, I don't know when, but that building hopefully would still be standing there, and that is your impact. Con number 3, it is expensive. There are so many hidden fees. You need a good computer, you need modeling materials, so many freaking modeling materials. You need to buy so much chipboard, so much bristle board. You need a 3D printer, or you have to buy 3D prints from somewhere. It gets expensive and it adds up. Also, printing. One semester I spent $200 on printing, and all of that paper right now went to the recycling bin. I don't have it anymore. Like that is it. The 3rd pro is the respect that comes with actually being an architecture major and an architect. This is a fun story, but before, when I said I was debating on majoring in interior design or industrial design, I was out to dinner with my high school girlfriend, and her mom said that, oh, like that can be your hobby, you know? Oh, like interior design, how fun, you're gonna decorate houses all day. Like, that can be your hobby. And maybe it's just a pride thing and a fault of mine, of course, but there's nothing wrong with being an interior design major, okay? There's nothing wrong with it. But when she said that, I don't know, my attitude kind of changed. And keep in mind, I was a lot younger. I was 18 then. So when I changed my major to architecture, I got more respect. My parents were, you know, so supportive with me throughout my whole college journey and all that stuff, but I could tell they were kind of happier that I majored in architecture. So, but that's on them. Also, generally speaking, the general public views architects with a lot of respect. Number 4 con is the heavy workload. Guys, this is crazy. The workload is insane. You don't sleep. It's hard to even find time to eat. There's sometimes when my peers would talk about how much they didn't sleep for days and days on end. Like, it's actually really not healthy. And it's just because of the workload. Now, keep in mind, not sleeping is kind of a cultural thing to say when you are majoring in architecture. Understand that if you have effective time management skills, then you can probably not have to pull an all-nighter, compared to my other girlfriends and guy friends that did not major in architecture, they could go out, you know, on Fridays and have fun, but I was stuck in studio working. And I think you need to find that good balance between work and play, because the workload is too much in my opinion. I think it's a little crazy, but whatever. Number 4, understand that you will have a physical impact on the environment. It kind of coincides with the other pro, but I really want you guys to wrap your head around it. Like, you have such an impact on societies, and history in general is the study of societies. So therefore you are impacting history and how future generations perceive our society that we, the architects, built today. And that is insane, and that is the impact that I am so happy and just aspiring to be a part of. I can only imagine my enthusiasm when future Nat goes out and designs a really cool building, hopefully, but a really cool building, and sees that built project right there in front of my eyes, and I'll just be so grateful that I am leaving a lasting impact on this world, and hopefully in a sustainable way. Number 5, the pressure is a lot. There is so much pressure that comes with the major and the field as a whole. Sometimes the pressure becomes too intense. And the pressure also does not really evaporate when you graduate college, because when you start working at a firm, you're still that low man on the totem pole. You really have to work your way up. The intern typically gets the work. It's really intense. It is. This pressure is just a consequence for your passion for architecture. It's overwhelming at times, but take a deep breath. I think every field out there has a lot of pressure that they personally face. Number 5, last pro, imagination. Your imagination is everything in this major. It's a super dynamic field. You will never get bored. You aren't doing the exact same project over and over and over again, because no project is the same. The world is dynamic. You can network with so many people across the globe. I remember my structures professor was telling me how he had so many projects and he met so many people around the world, and his structures are everywhere, and it's just fantastic to see. You can express yourself in a way that nobody else can. No one else can, and that's incredible. That really is such a beautiful thing, and I just hope you guys are aware of that. So that is it for today's video. 5 pros, 5 cons. Leave me a like, bell, all that good stuff. I have a bunch of other videos on this channel. They're videos that can help you if you are debating majoring in architecture, which you can go check out. I'll link some stuff down below, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Love you guys.